Inherently Taken. Inherently Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. And today, I sort of want to do this video. It wasn't actually my planned content for this week, but I strive to be authentic and to share events and things like that as they are happening to me. And I think that if it's worth sharing because somebody else might need to hear this, so that's why I'm doing it. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was remembering your witch in tough times. Not tough times like put upon, not tough times like, you're broke, those are great times to use witchcraft. But more when it's in here, in here, when your heart is breaking, grief, things of that nature. So when filming this, I had gotten some really sad news today, and it's someone that I care about, that I've known most of my life, pretty much my whole life. They died, and it feels too close to home. Not that it ever feels okay. Even, I have empathy for others when they lose a loved one. And I've had people, I have someone I know who lost their mother and grandmother shortly, and an uncle and an aunt, like over just a few years. And that was really tough. That's like their family, the base of the family. It's just, they're gone from this plane of existence. And that's really hard. As a practicing witch, for me, I will just say this: it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to cry, or however you express sadness. It's okay to feel sad. Now you're probably wondering, why am I telling you it's okay? Of course it's okay. Who said, what are you, a monster? Are you a robot? Of course you feel sadness. I'm bringing this up because I think, and I kind of want to make a point to kind of dispel some myths about what it is to be a modern witch. You feel things. I feel like we're in this space of, within a culture, and when I say the culture, I mean the witchcraft culture, the pagan culture, or hoodoo workers, pagans, spiritualists, occultists. I feel like there's, not everybody, but there's kind of this underlying belief that we are to be unbothered. We're unbothered. We are to feel unbothered and not let these things, like we're so in the knowledge that we don't feel these things because we know, this is just but a temporary life and we move on. To me, it's giving very Christian, very, Judeo-Christian beliefs on this whole idea, like your grandmothers and great grandmothers will talk like that. Well, it don't feel sad. They're Jesus called them home. I used to hear this stuff. They're called home. They're in a better place. That sort of logic. And from just from an anthropological point of view, I understand why we as humans do this and why we say this. So I'm not questioning that. I think the issue for me is that, okay, so I can be sad though. I can miss their physical presence. Even if I don't talk to them all the time, I can miss their physical presence being on this plane. I'm allowed to mourn that. Mourn. As witches, we can mourn. And it can manifest in so many different ways, and it can go dark. And it is okay. You have permission if things go dark. We have a range of emotions, and how we express that can come out in full ranges, different ranges as well. I don't think just because you call yourself a witch that you should feel like you are above the human experience. So feel the feels, feel sad, feel angry. Explore those emotions, explore it, allow it just to reign over you. The way that I have described grief to others to help them is sometimes it feels like a wave just coming over you. And if you've ever been in the ocean, especially like when you're younger, those waves seem like you thought it was okay, and you thought, oh, you just brace yourself and you realize just how intense. If you've ever been at the beach and you realize just how intense the ocean is in that moment, and it just like it goes over you. And for a while there, just a brief moment, it scared you half to death because you feel like, oh shoot, like you're in the ocean, like you don't know when you're gonna break free and be able to breathe, and that's scary. So that wave's got to come over. The way that you stay safe is that you keep supportive people around you, or person. Um, Try to find people who can be supportive of you so that when the big wave comes over, and for a brief time you feel like you might not be able to come up for air, um, have some, have a support group, hopefully, someone who is there and sees, oh shoot, she's been under. Wow, let me grab her out. Let me get her so she can come up for air. She's literally drowning in these watery abyss of emotions. She's drowning. So try to find a person or someone you feel can pull you out. I am very grateful because I surround myself with people virtually and in person when I can, with people who would notice that I have not come up for air, and they would rescue me, pull me out of that abyss, if only just to get some air. And they're not responsible for keeping me afloat. That's going to be part of my journey and my healing process. It's going to take me to do that, so I don't put that level of responsibility on my support network. What I do is lean on them, and sometimes it means coming out the shore, but I might not be ready, and they have to let me just float, and that's painful for someone you care about. But you keep an eye on them, and That's what support looks like. You keep an eye on them. You're not trying to. If they don't want to come out, let them stay. So right now, I know I'm in a space where I don't want to stay out. I don't want to float too much. Um, but I'm gonna take my time coming back to shore with this. And I like that analogy a lot because it really summarizes and kind of pinpoints exactly what the process is like. It feels the grief takes on a life of its own, like the ocean, and it can overcome. Um, so I'll sit with it for a minute because I need to let it just be. Now, in the process of that, what I like to do is light a candle sometimes. I light candles sometimes. Just a simple fragrance and incense, work with herbs, whether it's burning them or, using a mortar and pestle just to kind of get release the oils, and, you can smell it that way, just kind of like a potpourri situation, and you just have it out in the room or be near it. Crystals as well, just having a crystal available to you to kind of keep you a little bit balanced in this process as best as you can. Um, when you're at the point where you want to just sort of redirect the energy, because it's you need some of it off of you. I think crystals are great for that purpose of sort of putting it into that crystal. And then you can do what you will with that crystal at that point. You can recharge it, re-cleanse it, putting it in a bed of salt. You can leave it out and charge it like the moon, cleanse it. But and if you want to be completely done with it, if you think it's just too much, um, bury the crystal in the ground. Be done with it. Um, Or you can do something a little bit more. If you are near a body of water, you can just take that one little crystal and just chuck it in the water away from you, to get it away from you, because you don't want to come back to that. It depends on who you are, what you have access to, and so forth. Um, Journaling, I think journaling helps. Journaling is not going to be the same for everyone. Some people write in complete sentences, very much, they thorough, kind of pouring out your emotions in sort of an organized fashion, telling a story. For some people, journaling could just be sort of like a word salad where it's like just words on a page, maybe a couple sentences. Um, you know, I hurt bad, simplicity, but just that act of writing it and acknowledging it can be very cleansing. It can be helpful. And sort of when you journal and you close that book, okay, it's there now. Kind of the same transmuting and redirecting, except it's coming from here, down the arm, and the pen onto the paper, and then when you're done, you close it. It's done. You've come up for air. Um, Extra points if you're keeping points. I kid, but yeah, if you want to enchant that book, just a simple charm, simple spell, say something like, "This is to be only used for magic. This is for this," or whatever whatever you want to say, something like that. "This is for my healing. As I will it, so it is done." Call upon a goddess or God or something of that nature. Call upon your ancestors to lend the energy, especially when you're feeling all these feelings. Um, and finally, other ways as a witch to kind of just move through it is, like I said, to just be in it. Um, you know, Preparation is key as a witch. And I know everybody, your resources, your finances, your physical space, how far along you're in. You might not just know of certain things to gather, but preparation is key. If you are just curious on how do I master this witchcraft thing, like how do I feel more witchy? You're thinking ahead. For instance, I talk a lot about planning and having planners and things like that. And the reality of it is you really want to plan things out because you want to be ready for these moments. You're a human living a human experience who is also a practicing witch, right? So you want to have certain herbs on hand. The basics, you want to have some dedicated salt, white, you can do pink salt, white salt, black salt. You want to have these things ready to go and just in a jar somewhere. This is not a big thing. Sometimes I think we're in a world where you suggest things like that and you have a group of people, well, I mean, that's easy for you to do. I don't have that. You don't have access to white salt. If you don't stop it, just put it in a jar. It don't have to be a fancy jar. Just put it somewhere in a container specifically for that purpose, not what you're cooking with. Put it to the side. That's all. Like this is just I got these off of Amazon, so because I want to be a little fancier. But this is rosemary. Just get what you can and put it to the side for that purpose. Because when you're ready, have certain things ready to go. Like I said, crystals, you collect these over time. If you're into crystals, if you're not, none of this matters. But if you are, have things ready to go for helping you, for charging, for grounding, for redirecting, and things of that nature. Have those things charged and ready to go. So when you're in this space and you're in this predicament, and it's there, it's already charged. That takes some planning. Okay, well, I know it's going to be a full moon. I wanted to charge my crystals on a full moon. Have your crystals in a bowl or some sort of vessel container that they're all there, that you can easily take, put in a windowsill, or choose to put outside. The end. Say a few words over. This doesn't have to be complicated, but in moments where you are not at your full range, your full energetic levels that you normally are when you charge those things, that's going to make a world of difference. Having your moonstone to help balance you, having all, whatever crystals around to absorb, the negativity, the negative energy, especially when we go dark. And I say dark, I mean, you are no longer your normal self. You know what I mean? Your thoughts are going in directions you normally wouldn't go in, especially when feelings overwhelm us and we don't want to even break free. Back to the ocean analogy, the wave. We don't even care if we get the air. We just sort of want to sink. When you go that level, and I understand, trust me, you might not be in a space where you're even fully consciously doing it. It's just that higher self, that little whisper in the background, like just pick up the crystal and you do, and just as best as you can, pour it into that crystal. Um, to take it a step further, if you have already talismans and charms for luck, for prosperity, for healing, brew tea, your herbs for brewing tea, um, have those things available. You'd be surprised. There's a part of you that will hopefully, hopefully, wants to do the saving. It might not be screaming because the other part is just like, nope, sink. As someone who has been there, it's just this little whisper. It's barely an imprint in your psyche, but it's a little nudge. It's there, and that little part, temporarily for me, was very grateful for the pre-work that was done of having little charms, trinkets, crystals, an oil blend, an herbal tea. It's not that it changed everything in that moment, but it gave me an opportunity to come up for air, just a little bit of air. And then once you come up for air, so to speak, you can, take a deep breath and get a little bit more clarity. And hopefully you'll stay up long enough to get yourself out of it, get out of the water. So this is just my little video here. If you are in a space where life has just become overwhelming, you're dealing with grief, hurt, loss on a level that you can't even put words to it. It just hurts so bad. And you're practicing Witch on how to deal with it. So the things that I talk about are the things that I do. I am true about this witchcraft life. I believe in it wholeheartedly. This is my faith, my spirituality, my faith. I have faith in myself. That's the faith part, by the way. I have faith in myself that I will make it. I can survive. And survival looks like a lot of different things. More to come on that. What surviving looks like. It might look a lot different than what you think. And then once you survive, eventually begin to thrive. So thanks again for watching. I'm Nika. This is Leap Taken. Please consider joining Leap Taken membership. Go ahead and hit that join button. I'd love to have you. We have member-only videos. There's other perks and things like that I sort of invent and think of as I go. There's something coming up soon for members. So if you're thinking about joining, go ahead and join now because I have some fun stuff planned that they will have certain perks to. Another thing is go ahead and head on over to leaptaken.com. Check out some of my services that I offer. I have a mentorship program. I have an Ask a Witch, just hour-long conversation. It's a virtual meetup. I meet through Zoom, or if you want to have conversations and sort of talk through some things, I definitely can help you where it's a little less structured, and I'll do my best depending on what you're asking now, as long as it's sort of under the witchcraft. I'm not a licensed therapist, but I'll do my best. And then also a monthly subscription, so check that out as well. So please hit like, subscribe if you haven't, if you want to, and thanks again for watching. Bye.